Bam, bam. Let's get going once again with the Knowledge Drop podcast, the podcast for breakers worldwide. This focus tuning in from Helsinki, Finland, bbodojo.com, and Cypher Studio, Flomo Crew representing. We've got a great guest today. I'm hyped about this one. A lot of people have been hitting me up about comments and questions for the OG that we have joining us today. No other than the legendary b-boy Easy Rock from the west coast of US of A. So let's get right into it. There's going to be a bunch of great questions and stuff that will get me hype. That's for sure. So let's get Easy Rock over here on the live and let's do it. Bow. Here we go.
What's up,
here we
everybody?
go. What's good? How's it going, man?
I'm good.
How's
How are you?
California?
It's nice,
Doing
man. It's
excellent
sunny.
my ways.
Yeah, sun's
Sunny.
shining. Yeah.
Perfect. Us, we're still cold. There's a lot of ice and snow and all that everywhere. So I miss LA, man. You guys are lucky. 365, 12
Yeah.
months in a year.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Honored to have you over here on the show. And let's kick it right away. Tuning in live from the garage. What do you have out there in the background?
This is just basically my workshop. I got a few bikes back here. These two I built. Just some of my memorabilia. I've moved a lot of it out. Actually, I'm in the process of moving right now. So there's tool stuff. It's a big mess. But like I was telling you, I'm always doing projects. I'm always building something, and sometimes I'll jump from one thing to another, and that's just the way my brain works. The ADHD is like hard to keep
How
up
far
with
do you
myself.
go?
Yeah.
How far do you go with building the bike? Do you get a bike and break it down
Get a bike and
pieces?
basically get a bike and strip it down, and then just add my own flavor to it. This chopper right here on this long one I rebuilt. It took about a year, and I completely took everything apart, and that was tough. I've never done that before. Put it back together and rode it for a couple months, but then I realized there was a crack in the front neck tube, which is highly dangerous. So again, it's sitting now until I can get that welded. But I'm glad I caught it.
Okay.
I caught it in time. I would have been dead. But yeah. But it's fun. I just taught myself how to do that. Everything I've ever done, I just dive in and just teach myself. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the best way to learn too. And I'm also waiting for my bike to come out of the winter care. Got a nice Sportster that I'm planning to take some pieces apart and make it like one seater and stuff. So
yeah, these are both
for the
Sportsters
summer.
too. Yeah, that's an Ironhead, and they're both Sportsters, but I like the small bikes. Over here, a lot of guys got big bikes. Baggers, stereos. It's they're nice, but they're expensive, more expensive than what I have, and so I enjoy mine. And they're old school style. I like the old school stuff. That's what I grew up on. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and if you get a budget, then if you like to kind of customize it, then with that same budget of getting a heavy and a hard to handle big bike, then you might get a lighter one and just simply make it look like yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. Nice. How many bikes you had this far?
I just have the two. I might inherit my dad's Softail. He's my dad's 80, but he still rides. But he's getting a little he's a little nervous. He says his hands start to ache, and I just made sure I told him don't sell it. If you're gonna sell it, at least sell it to me. And it's a beautiful, beautiful Softail Heritage. So that'll be a nice bike for going long distance. But I just have the two. This was my wife's, the Ironhead. So she rides that. We all used to ride her and her family and my friends. And there's a lot less of us now. A lot of people sold their bikes though. It's really dangerous, especially in LA. The roads it's too much traffic and people are just driving crazy. So it's a scary thing. People want to get into it. I tell them, you got to think twice about it, because it's every day you go out there, it might be your last. So you got to be really careful and cautious.
True that. I'm trying to get my wife a card and a bike as well. Let's see how that works and work my way towards a Softail. But
ride them on the back. Ride them on
the
back of yours, and they'll get tired of it and they'll want their own. I guaranteed.
That was our wedding trip too. After the wedding, we went for 2 weeks on the bike. So we had a tent
Oh
and the
wow,
wife in the back, and that's it. So that was maybe the most romantic thing I've ever done in my life.
that sounds cool, man. Right on, good for you.
Yeah, 2 weeks,
Right
two
on.
weeks on the countryside. Phew. Easy. Riding is something that's been there for a long time for you as well. And let's take it back to BMX. A lot of people were asking about the BMX times.
Yeah,
What
sometimes I forget
intrigued you
about
about the
that.
BMX in the back in the days? How did you get
Yeah,
involved?
yeah. Shouts to Fever One. He commented on Instagram and was like, I can't wait to hear about the BMX, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that. um, yeah, no, I got into. I was riding BMX. I was racing uh, first, and that was about 81, 1980, 81. So I was about 10, 11, and that was before I found hip hop. So I was into the racing, and I got really heavy into dirt jumping. So I was really good at dirt jumping too. I didn't really care for the race itself, but when I hit the jumps, I was just like in heaven. And the school I used to go to, the elementary school, there was a dirt track in the back of the school, so we could basically practice every day. And that was pretty rare back then. And so there were a lot of pros that used to go there too. So I would just watch the pros and then practice along with them and try to learn. And I kind of when I actually the bike I had at the time got stolen, so I kind of got out of it a little bit. And at the same time was about 83. That's when I got into hip hop. So hip hop sort of filled that gap of me not racing anymore and not riding, and I just dove straight into that. And that's just that's so much possibilities in hip hop. There's so much to do. And then just fast forward to 86, people stopped breaking over here. They stopped breaking, and like nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to practice. People are just finding other interests. Like people get tired of stuff in the States. They just get tired of it. I don't know why. And I'm like, well, there was no one to practice with, so I got a bike again and started flatland freestyle. And I knew a pro named Martin Aparicio who lived in the same sort of neighborhood as me, and he became my teacher. So I would go over to his house, and there was like a gang of us there practicing all day, like 6, 7, 8 hours a day. And within like 6 months to a year, I was sponsored. My first sponsor was
Wow,
Vans, and then GT bicycles, and then like within like 9 months to a year, I was touring. And
crazy.
I was 17. So that was about 86, 87. 87, I remember getting my license, and I'm like, boom, I'm driving. Next thing I know, I'm driving the van, and we're going across all the states and setting up ramps and doing shows for, at bike shops. And it
Wow,
was amazing. And the cool thing about touring was that there were a lot of B-boys who had done the same thing. A lot of B-boys transitioned either into skating or into BMX. And a lot of it was flatland, because flatland it's almost like braking on a bicycle. And so I would meet all these people from different states, and like we would do our show, we'd set up, and then when we tear down, we would like get something to eat. Then we'd pull out a linoleum or something, or like whatever, or just break on the concrete. And because people were like, "Hey,
oh,
you break, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." So in that way, I never really stopped breaking, because I got to break like at the shows and on tour, and and I got to meet a lot of people that way. And that was a really good experience for me. So, and that was weird because I was like 17 also when I was in the magazine. So I was already had a little taste of like fame, and that was weird, and like, it was awesome though. Yeah. I miss those days, but
hey, fresh. How did that then again delve back into breaking more heavily from there?
oh yeah. So the transition back to hip hop. So I pretty much, uh, been all into writing, all into touring. And that only lasted like 4 years. It was really short. So I think it was around 90, I got really involved in like the lowriding scene. So like where I'm from, there's a lot of people have lowriders. I was building lowrider bicycles. I was just really fascinated with the culture. I got really heavy into it. Got in a couple car clubs, and when we would go to the super show, they call it the super show, is like the really big one, where like there's thousands of cars. They have a DJ, and the DJ was throwing on all the old school stuff, like mostly like Planet Rock, like electro stuff. but some funk too. And a couple of us were like, a buddy of mine was a popper. He would start popping, and I'd go out there and start breaking, and people were like watching us, and nobody was laughing at that time. They were at the car shows. They were like, "That's cool." If you went
Wow.
anywhere else, people were like, "Hey, what year is it? You know, what year is this? This is it. This isn't B Street." But at the car show, they dug it. They liked it because people missed it. People missed seeing that, you know. So we would mess around at the car shows, but about a year later, it just got real serious. I started painting again. I started doing graffiti again. I found a cool spot where I could do it with no hassle, and I just started getting more into hip hop again. And that kind of around that same time though is when I lost my sponsorships. I started not doing as well on the competition level for BMX. I was getting lazy. I was hanging around with a bad crowd too. So I kind of got diverted in that. And I think I was just kind of embarrassed to go back to BMX after that. So I just dove head in with breaking. And that went fast. Yeah. 90 to 92 was when I met a bunch of people. We met Crazy Legs in 92. I got down with Rocksteady that year. I think in 93, it just started going really fast. And that was like a 20 something years in that I didn't think I would do. I always thought I would go back to riding bikes, or I would get more into skateboarding, or I'd get a lowrider or a proper one and just put all my money into that and my time. But no, it was breaking. Just
Wow.
Yep. Suck me in.
Wow. Okay. And interesting too, because if you think about your style, it was super and is super versatile. So mad complete and everything. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of years, so much dedication to get on that level.
Mm.
How did you, first of all, how did you find that vision of B-Boy Easy Rock? Like, this is what Easy Rock looks like.
You know what? I think this is going to tap into something I'll talk about later, and it has to do with like respecting the people that came before you and your elders. And I was really influenced by, you know, I started in '83. I was really influenced by Rocksteady, you know, Dynamic, all the groups from New York, and some of those they had that package. They had flavor, but they were at that time they were also starting to you know push a little further with like everyone calls it power moves, but I call them, you know, air moves, you know, flares and windmills, anything where your feet are in the air, you know, stuff on the neck, all that stuff started getting really popular. And I really wanted to be a part of that too. But I don't know, somehow I just loved the flavor. And there was a time when I just got strictly into like power moves, air moves, and that's what I was just doing and I'd forgotten how to top rock. You know, my footwork had gotten kind of shabby. I never was the greatest in the '80s. I was not the greatest. I was trying to be, you know, down with other crews, and I you know, I was good, but I wasn't, you know, top dog. But it was just the second chance, I think, was like when I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go hard this time," and it was realizing what I do. Like I used to watch myself when we did get videos finally in the '90s. I would watch my videos constantly and just bash myself. I'd be like, no, that don't look right. That doesn't look right. Or no, I did too many of those things. I needed to shorten that. And so what I started doing was just kind of snipping it. Like, I don't need to do 20 halos. You know, I don't need to do 20 windmills. I could do 3 and then transition into a different thing. And then, so I started just really wanting to mix it all in one set. I always compliment Flip Rock from New York City Breakers, because he has that kind of style where he can do a flip and then a spin and then come out into footwork and then go back into something. Like he's well rounded that way, and a lot of the OG heads were. But I just wanted to make sure that I was representing the dance in the best way I could, and that meant all of the things in one set. You know, top rock, go downs, footwork, then an air move, maybe back to footwork again, then a freeze. And that's just the thing. I just kept drilling myself to make sure I do that every time. And you know, sometimes I just have fun and just want to do a power move set. But and then if you notice through my progression too, like my power moves or air moves got less impact and like less dynamic as I pushed further to do the complete package thing. So that meant like, because you have to sacrifice because you're a lot more tired. Like you said, it's difficult after a whole round of top rock, then a whole round of footwork, and then you're going to throw in some air moves or power moves. You're pretty tired by then, and your feet are tired and they're heavy. So
For sure.
if people really realize that, it's hard to do that. And I did it purposely. I sacrificed the with the big dynamic power moves for the complete package. So it was something that I did purposely, intentionally.
Nice. How about coming up in the West Coast? Like there wasn't too many b-boys or b-girls with the same approach. Like you kind of have to reinvent that approach in that way. Influenced by the East Coast, yeah, but I'm sure the surroundings was not too supportive. A lot of power heads, a lot of people who had an original style too, but the complete package was rare.
Yeah, and I mean,
correct me if I'm wrong.
No, they're and you know, I'll admit, like Rocksteady, we pushed for that original style, and a lot of people got confused and they thought they had to choose, you know, one side or the other. And you know, for years I had feuds with like Air Force because they're really big on air moves and dynamic, you know, the presence, but they also know the traditional style too. But the younger generation was forced to pick sides, and we made a mistake in that. You know, we should have caught that earlier. But you know, you know, I say we as like when I was in Rocksteady, but it's we as the people who love the tradition of it, love the culture side of the dance, who were like very just cautious about it, like turning into too much of a sport or losing the foundation, you know. And when you're passionate like that, you get really kind of pushy and bossy, and and it went the wrong way. But like, yeah, so a lot of people were just not even doing footwork for a while. They were just straight power move heads, and I think it's come full circle. I think we got past that, luckily. But yeah, that did happen. Yeah, it was tough. I got
Was there people in the
like,
West Coast?
What's that?
Was there people in the West Coast who influenced you? Like who was the people that you looked up to?
Oh, the early days, yeah.
Yeah.
There were a lot of crews here that were really, really amazing. There was Rockin' Lockers, Rockin' Wizards. They're from like more Orange County area, like Santa Ana and Anaheim, and that's where I grew up. I grew up in Buena Park. It's still greater LA, but it's but in LA was like you know, like Air Force and those crews. And we would make it out that way. Sometimes we go out to Venice Beach, or we go to events. I'd go to Hollywood Boulevard. Everyone used to dance there on the corner, and it was great. But like those early days, that was my big influence as far as on the daily, like practicing, because you see someone do it for real, you understand it even more. You're like, oh wow, like you can hear the footsteps, you can hear the swipe, you can hear the pants, you know, hitting each other. It's like it's just so much different on video. It's just like, whoa, what was that? But so yeah, a lot of influences all around. I like to just pick the best things I see and try to work with that, put it all in one pot.
One thing that when I was looking back to your footage, then one thing that stood out from pretty much everybody else was execution. Like the way that you rocked everything was flawless and on point. Has there been like a approach, like did you do that on purpose always, that execution is like your strong side, or was it something that just came out? Was it natural for you?
Yeah, I definitely think it's natural. I come from on my father's side, they're all gymnasts and dancers. My grandfather was a tap dancer, really renowned, and so it's in the blood. And I'm really a shy person, but once the camera comes on or the lights come on or I'm on the stage, I just blank, and I turn into this thing, you know. And so I think a lot of it's just a natural kind of like need to show off or need to be like seen and to do it. I like just being clean. I mean, a lot of it came with understanding the music too. It was actually Crazy Legs helped me with learning like changing my top rocks and learning how to move, you know, with the music, to the music, feel the music. And I think I kind of just had an epiphany, like one day it just hit me where I was like, I just really felt the music. And once you really
Oh,
feel, when you fall in love with the music, it's like a whole part of it is it's gone. You don't have to think as much. It's just you just go. And so yeah, it's kind of that. And I never prepped. I don't. A lot of people, they call it training now. People train. I would practice, but a lot of it was just spontaneous. So it was practicing to get the move, but never practicing it to be exactly the same every time. So that's another key thing is to like, if you've got a set, you got to change that set every now and then because people get used to it. They're like, oh, there's that thing he did. Oh no, he changed it. You know, like he usually does. Oh, he did. It's really important to do that. You know, it's like deviate from your normal pattern. You know, it helps a lot with that's just my advice for anybody, you know, who maybe gets stuck in doing the same thing all the time, but change it up sometimes.
for sure. Change it up, and all the rounds that obviously you do on footage, every round is different. There's the same elements, but there's always small difference to it, like the way that it's rocked. So
Thank
there's a proof
thank you
right
for noticing.
there. What about competing in general? You said you went heavy with the BMX for competing, but naturally, 90s was not too heavy on breaking competitions as it is today. How
No,
did you
not
feel
really.
about competing? Like I remember seeing you get champs, crew battles, and saw you in Battle of the Year '96. But what about like other competitions? How did you feel about them?
Yeah, there weren't really a lot, you know, here. I mean, there was freestyle session kind of came, you know, after as we were doing the B-Boy Summit, but it was just a different approach. I'm like a big fan of like if you want to battle somebody, you just battle them. You just that's the old school way. Like when I was growing up, you know, you go to a place like the mall or something, and you see someone dressed like you, and you, hey, I think that guy breaks. You just call them out. But that is so gone. It's just so that was so old school. You know, now it's like everything's a setup thing. You don't know who you're going to battle. You know, it's on a list, and you know the organizers choose it for you, and there's a lot of it's missing for me. But like in those days, like those big battles, yeah, like Battle of the Year or the UK battle, those things we would prep for that. You know, we'd pick who's going to go. That was different. We would work on routines. There was a lot more preparation in it, but even then, I feel like some of those battles, I try to keep the feeling like oh, I don't like these guys, or like we I picked these guys. I would try to put it in my imagination. That way, I could perform or compete stronger. But it's really hard. I don't know.
Oh,
It's not the same. It's not the same as like when you don't like someone or you know you choose to battle someone and you just call them out. Like that was a big difference. And so those battles are rarely seen. Someone did comment
mm,
on that. They were like they had never seen me in a battle in video, just ciphers. And I was like, I battled a lot. It's just that I guess they just weren't caught on camera. They were just,
yeah.
but I would battle almost every night of the week. There was a time when I go out to the nightclub, start a circle, and someone would start talking, boom, it's on. So it
There
was,
was enough competition already. Like that's enough. It
yeah,
doesn't
it's
have to be
just,
organized. Anything more than that, that's all you need.
but that was my experience with competition. You know, it's a lot different now, and I respect it. It's just different.
Yeah. Got a question from Poland. Hefo asks about what did you think about European breaking level back in '96 for when you came for Battle of the Year? How did you find the whole trip and the experience?
Oh, I first came actually in I think 93 or 4. I came out
Mm.
Paris, and I think did we go? Might have went somewhere else after that, but my first trip to Europe blew my mind because I thought I was pretty good, you know, with power moves and my style and my techniques, and I came out and I was like blown away. I worked with Emilio and Storm and Gabon from France and so many people, and I was like, I just was like, I didn't know you guys were breaking like this out here. And I took that back with me, you know, to the States. And I was just like, wow, you guys see what they're doing over there. Like we can't be lazy. And I took the energy with me because it blew my mind. It really did. Just the scene, just how many people were like together. It was hard. It's harder here in the States. It's hard. You guys are, it's tighter over there in Europe. You know, you can go different places. Here it's so spread out that it's like a grain of rice over here and a grain of rice over there, and it was really hard to unite. But that's what I kind of liked. I kind of like the community. Yeah.
Nice, nice. I might have seen some of that footage too. I remember seeing black and white footage from, not sure of the year, but with some of the actual Force guys, Battle Squad, and probably you guys over there too. Was Evo over there on the same trip?
I don't think I met, not that one. No, I didn't meet him till
Okay,
probably like 96. Yeah. But
that has to
I
be
would hear
another
like,
one then.
but I would hear rumors about him a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So coming back to today's generation, you already said something that the scene is very different with the technology and all that stuff. Do you think there's still a connection between or your generation, my generation, and the next generation as well?
Well, like I like to mention this to in most interviews. I usually mention this because it's something that I've discovered over the years. With the internet and the videos and YouTube and being able to see like people from everywhere in the world. Um, One thing that I discovered that was starting to change was the regional style. Like from like where you're from, there's a style. Italy, there's a style. Germans have a style. New York and LA have styles, and Japanese. Wherever you're at, there is a look, there is a style, and it's based on the OGs from that time period, like early '80s when the world discovered hip hop, and they had what happened is they had to interpret what they were seeing and they got involved, but they added their own style because there was nothing else to look at. Now everybody's starting to look the same, and it's kind of sad. And that's one thing I noticed, and that was the downside to the technology. Is a lot of people we lost the regional styles. um the good thing is that there's infinite material to reference, to look at, to study. It's like it's so different. It's like there's even equipment now, right? You could buy equipment that you strap around your legs to help you learn flares or learn airfoot. Like we didn't have that. We just went, if you wanted to learn how to do a backflip, you went in the backyard in the grass and tried to do a backflip and hurt your neck. And then eventually you learned it. But it's like now there's tutorials and there's coaches and there's everyone, it's teaching. It's like it's night and day from when I started. And I mean, there's a plus side to it. There's more people now breaking than ever, even when it first, ever. Just the downside of it is it's getting a little bit washed out. It's just a little bit, it's losing its grit. Like, and that's the thing that got me into hip hop. Was it was so gritty. It was so raw. It was this thing you had to like learn on your own or with your close friends. Like, I miss that. I don't, I know there are some crews keeping it, they like that, and they try to keep that spirit alive. But I miss seeing it, but that's just technology and the way it goes and the way the whole dance is evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Naturally, everything changes, but would there be any tips that you would give for people how to boost creativity these days so it doesn't get all washed out?
That's a hard one because all this stuff I talk about is coming from my personal experiencing it back then. For me to tell someone, they're not even going to understand it because it's like me trying to understand where the new generation's coming from now. I try to, but it's hard because we're just different times. We're going through different things. We're learning it differently. I think, just my suggestion is always to just do research. It's good to be in the now and be current, but also go back in the past. Look at some old videos. Like go just do some research. And you'll see like a difference. You'll notice the way people dance, the way people dress, the way people carry themselves. When I started, it was like we were artists. Like b-boys were artists and actors. We were putting on an act. It was like we created our character. We all had a character, and that changed over time as well. It's like we used to bomb our own jackets, do graffiti on the back. Try to outdo each other with outfits. I mean, I don't know if people do that still, but we did it like. If you weren't breaking, you looked like you were breaking, even if you're just walking down the street. It was the way you carried yourself. It's just it's different now, and everyone's really about athletic training, prepping for the battle. A lot of it's money too. We didn't, when you're younger, you don't care about money, but now it's like money is the thing. It's like, I'm gonna win that battle. I need that money, and that kind of ruins it sometimes. So you got to try to keep a good balance. I guess if any advice I would say, keep a good balance. Stay current, but research. Have your eye on the prize, but don't make that the ultimate.
Yes, sir. So any favorite breakers that if you watch any footage today, do you go back to old school footage or do you watch any current stuff, or what gives you still that thrill of watching some nasty breaking? Is there anybody you can drop?
I don't really have any favorites. I couldn't name like really names. I'll catch a clip here and there, on the Instagram or whatever, but I watch about an equal amount of, I watch more skate videos than I watch breaking videos. I watch more motocross videos than I do. It's not like a lot of the things, like, because I was breaking for 40 years, so like I've not that I've seen it, but like it's not like what I do for entertainment. I don't watch videos. If I do, what I do, I watch my own videos still. I like to watch my videos, and I like to. It's good. It reminds me that I used to move like that, or even if I want to practice, like I might look back on some of my old footage and say I might try this, and I'm still in my head creating combinations and changing my combinations. So when I watch myself, I'm like, oh, if I do that again, I'm gonna do it like this, even though I may never get to it, but it's in there. But inspiring that. The moves are incredible. What people are doing now, it's incredible. The crew, I'm in Concrete All Stars, and there's some guys in my crew are insane when it comes to just character. Like Muneki, Japanese guy. Oh my god, I love to watch him. He gets me hyped. He just gets me hyped because he's a character, and he's fast and he's just wild. And it's so my own crew gets me hyped. But I don't really particularly have any favorites though. But I'm rooting for everybody.
Dope. All right, cool. We've got a section for the show called the underrated, overrated. So a couple of quick ones. You can say if you think this overrated or underrated in the scene or whatever. Ready?
Okay.
Let's go. Okay. Freeze facing your opponent. Does it still matter?
I believe so.
Freezing towards your opponent. Yeah.
Yeah. Freezing. Yeah. Definitely. Would that be underrated or overrated?
Up to you.
I know. I think we need more of it. I think we need more freezes, more eye contact. Yeah.
So it's underrated. Thrasher, the skate brand.
Underrated.
How come?
Does everyone know what Thrasher is?
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of don't understand the question, but like, I would say I always want somebody to know about Thrasher. So if someone doesn't, then it's underrated. Hasn't been out there enough.
That's what's up. California.
Overrated.
How come?
I don't know. Everybody probably has a dream of what they think it's like. I love California though. I can't lie. I haven't moved anywhere else. I'm born and raised. I love my state. But like anywhere else, we have our own problems. So I think overrated.
Footwork.
Underrated.
How come?
Can never have more. Can never have enough footwork.
That's true.
Yeah.
Trikes.
Trikes?
3-wheel motorcycles.
Oh. I think if you're disabled, it's underrated. Yeah. We don't have too many out here. Yeah. We have the ones with the 2 wheels in the front. Those are overrated.
Those are overrated for sure.
I hate those.
Yeah, that's what's up. Cool. I guess that's pretty much everything. What's next up for Easy Rock in the menu? What's happening in 2024 for you?
I'm in the middle of a move right now. Just making some changes in my life right now. But gonna try to get involved with some art soon because I haven't been doing much art. I'm a carpenter. So right now, for the last 5 years, I build custom furniture. So I still work with my hands, and I'm pretty good at it. I've always done a lot of different things in art. I was a sign painter. I do graffiti, of course, pinstriping on cars. But I never stick with one thing. I'm like all over the place. But for 5 years, I've stuck with carpentry. So that's been cool. Maybe it might spin off on my own a little bit. Yeah, not a whole lot going on. B-boy wise, I'm gonna do a jam in Texas in the summer. But other than that, I mean, I'm not in the scene as much. I'm kind of in the background, observing what's going on. But nothing real huge, man. Just living life. I get my bike on the road again.
Somehow every time I come to California, I see you at the jam. So that's precious, and it's dope that you still come around. So we appreciate that, man. Thank you.
I wish there was more time and places to dance, though. Like the jams, it's getting harder. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, freestyle session this year was big. There was a lot of space, but it was just so much going on, man. That my head was gonna explode. It was just like, wow. It was like 5 different rooms. I was like, what is this? But yeah, I try. I'll be around, man. I never disappear, and I never say I quit. I hate when people say, "Oh, I quit. I don't do that no more." I'm like, yeah, right. The music came on, and it was funky, and there was a spot, and you had a shot. Yeah.
B-boy for life. Shout out to Moneki for throwing the jam the day before freestyle session too. That was a sick one.
Yeah. That's a fun one. Yeah, I love my crew. They're great.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Concrete All Stars all day. All right, cool, man. Appreciate the time. Thank you. And I'll catch you on some of the jams. Maybe in California, maybe in Finland. Who knows?
Okay.
It's a small world, so easy going.
This was fun.
Take care, and thank you for the time.
Thank
you.
Peace. All right, peace, everybody.
Yeah. Dope. Good times with Easy Rock. A lot of people tuned in, so let's keep it going. Head out to bboydojo.com and hit up my free footwork workshops. We can continue over there, y'all. Now let's drop. Podcast signing out. Peace.